This next story comes out of Florida, and it does not involve Florida man. It's from a publication, Florida publication called The Center Square. And here's how it reads. 5 billion return on 423 million affordable housing investment. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis' proposal 96.6 billion fiscal year 2022 budget recommendation fully funds affordable housing programs at 423.3 million, which a study released on Tuesday maintains will generate 5 billion in economic benefits statewide. An economic analysis of the Florida housing programs produced by the Regional Economic Consulting Group for the Sadowski Coalition analyzed the economic impact of using affordable housing trust funds solely for affordable housing, a rarity in Florida until this year, and determined that every $1 in housing trust funds spent on housing returns $1.40 in revenues for state and local government coffers. The study shows us that the Sadowski Trust Fund money for housing creates revenue in Florida. Florida Housing Coalition President Jamie Ross said, with every dollar spent, there's a 40% return on investment, in addition to producing desperately needed housing. According to the 23-page REC analysis, if lawmakers appropriate the full $423.3 million collected state and local housing trust fund over the past year, revenues would increase by $167 million, $86.6 million for the state and $80.5 million for local governments. Rex study concludes that 423 million allocation in DeSantis' Florida Leads Florida year 2022 budget request would house 47,845 people, create 33,286 jobs, and generate an overall 5 billion economic impact on the state's economy. I'm going to skip over a few paragraphs here because it does tell us what the Sadowski Fund actually is, the source of money. So here's what they say about it. The Sadowski Fund was created in 1992 to leverage private and federal funding for affordable and workplace housing. Its 10-cent surcharge for every $100 paid on real estate transactions was doubled to 20 cents in 1995. This year, it is projected to generate nearly 423 million. This might actually change the way we look at investing in affordable housing, like as a country. Let's take a step back and see what the proposal actually is. So, the proposal is for Florida to use taxes from real estate transactions, the Sadowski Fund, I believe it was called, and invest it in affordable housing. The tax here was 20 cents on every $100, and this tax money, when invested, would ultimately house 47,845 people, create 33,286 jobs, and give returns of multiple times over to the state government. State and local. That's not a ridiculously high tax that applies to everyone. 20 cents on every $100. It is a small tax in a very specific industry, real estate transactions, and when used responsibly, it is projected to yield results better than not taxing anyone at all. I think the lesson that we need to take away from this is that maybe, just maybe, taxing small amounts from giant transactions can be better for the country as a whole, or I guess like the state as a whole, if it's being invested properly. You know what this reminds me of? There were a few studies a few years back now that told us that ending homelessness would actually save the taxpayer money. This would be money that the taxpayer saves through homeless people's interactions with hospitals, their interactions with law enforcement, and other emergency departments. I know it's not the same thing as what's going on here. Ending homelessness is not the same as providing affordable housing, but I think they're kind of connected in regard to actually, helping meet the needs of people. And honestly, I think in general that investing our tax dollars, especially tax dollars that come from real estate transactions, in helping people meet their basic necessities is generally the humane thing that a government should do. But for those who are more money oriented and money driven, If this works out, we will finally have the argument for the fiscal side, which helps us win more people on this issue, turning our country into a more humane society. At the very least, it'll encourage other states to do these sorts of studies, primarily because they will be economically driven, which, as long as we get to the goal of helping working people meet their basic needs as a government, I think is ultimately a good thing.